Get ready with me while I tell you about my ex who was a serial killer. To preface, I'm 18 years old. We met when I was 17 and she was a 50-year-old police officer. We met online on TikTok when she found my account and followed me and started liking and commenting on all of my TikToks. I didn't think anything of it until she started heavily flirting with me in my comment section, and so I ended up going to look on her account and saw that she was a police officer. It went a while until we ended up actually interacting with each other when she DM'd me one day and did the little waving thing. And we talked for a little while over in our TikTok DMs. And long story short, we talked for a couple of days before I ended up giving her my number. And we started texting and calling from there. She seemed pretty normal for like a 50-year-old, but granted, she shouldn't have been talking to me at the time. I told her I was 18 at first before telling her a couple of days later that I was actually 17, and she wasn't fazed. She continued talking to me, and our relationship kind of kickstarted there. It went very, very fast. Like, it was almost immediate that she had kind of put her claim down on me for the most part. She would always talk about wanting to come see me, and she lived in Miami and I live in Atlanta, so we were talking long distance. She would always talk about how she wanted to see me, how she wanted to come up, how she was so excited to have met me, and she was already falling in love with me because I was so smart and so beautiful and all the groomy things. And I'm pretty smart, so I knew what was going on, but I was just entertaining it for, I guess, my own enjoyment. But it started to intensify really, really, really fast. And she would say things that were randomly really possessive and kind of creepy. And I should have blocked her then, but I didn't. And we started calling maybe 2 weeks after she got my number, and we would call during the night and just kind of talk about everything. And then there was one night where we were talking about work, her job, and I had asked her, I was like, have you ever killed anyone on duty, or ever had to do that on duty, or had to shoot someone? And she said, on duty or off duty? And I said, both. Weird fucking question. Why would you have killed someone off duty? And she started telling me about it. She told me that she had killed someone the very first time when she was 15 years old because she was in a gang. She had been in a gang since she was 13. And then the next couple of ones were when she was 18, 20, 21. Just as she got older, she just continued. At this point, I definitely should have left, but I'm a curious person, and if someone is admitting to have murdered people, I want to know more. And she wasn't in my state, wasn't in my city, and I was like, if this goes left, I can just block her and be done with it. Pause, look how cute my shirt is. It's backless. So after this, she ended up telling me a lot more, really descriptive details about how the Everglades, because it's like sacred property or something, that they go and dump bodies in the Everglades and let all the animals eat the bodies. And she would also tell me about her torture methods and how she would have to do what she called grab and smash, or smash and grab or something, where she would pick someone up off the street and beat the shit out of them and drop them off somewhere. She would have to do pickups and drop-offs for her gang, where she would go and pick people up and then deliver them to the gang for them to do whatever they needed to do to that person. To this day, I'm not really sure why she was telling me all of these things and trusting me with it, considering that we had only talked for 2 weeks. And I was a 17-year-old girl that definitely would have squealed. But silly old me. Of course I didn't, because I didn't really have a lot of information on her, and I didn't know what to do with that information that I had found out, so I just kept talking to her. After that, she started making more direct threats towards me, being I really want you to be mine. If you don't, I don't know what I'll do. And I was taking that as a sign of oh, if I don't engage in this relationship with you, you're going to do something to me. So I continued talking to her, and 2 weeks later, after she told me, she came to my city to meet up with me. And I was petrified, but I felt like I couldn't say no because she had pushed for it for days and days and was being really aggressive towards me if I didn't. So she flew up and stayed in a hotel, and I met up with her, and inevitably we did what people do in relationships. After that time in the hotel, she basically declared that I was her girlfriend and that I wasn't going to go anywhere, or else she would do terrible things to me and my family. And later on throughout our relationship lasted about like maybe 10 months. She started to, So after that, she started coming up to see me more. So she would come up to Atlanta maybe like twice a month. And she would stay for a weekend or a couple of days, and we would see each other during that. During a couple of those days, she had pulled a knife on me, pulled a gun on me, but also promised that she would never do anything to hurt me, promised that I was her number one, her only one, her soulmate, her all of the things. And I felt pretty stuck. I didn't really know what to do. I felt like if I left, that would be like her breaking point. And later I found out that it was her breaking point, because once I had talked about what she would do if we broke up, she was like, oh, I will literally drive this knife through your whatever, and like, you're done, like, you don't get to leave me. After a while, she gifted me a necklace that was a chain with a cross on it that she told me if I ever took off that she would kill me. And she would send me all sorts of gifts and presents and money, and also a lot of drugs. I started cocaine because of her. She would send me cocaine in the mail, and she would send it to me, peer pressure me into doing it. She would give me all sorts of things to try, and she was a really heavy addict and a really heavy drinker. She did heroin, cocaine, she drank constantly, so she was always in an aggressive mood. About 6 months in, she told me that she wanted to marry me. Mind you, she was already married to another woman and had 4 kids of her own, 2 of which were under the age of 5. But she told me that she was going to divorce her wife and that we were going to have kids together, and that on my 18th birthday, I was going to go to Miami to live with her and get married. Somewhere in between this, she started to grow a lot of resentment for my mom, because my mom was obviously keeping me from like being with her full time, being with her a lot, talking to her all the time. So she told me about how she planned to kill my mom, and what she was gonna do, how she was gonna plan it, how she was gonna like break into the house and like all sorts of things. And by that point, she knew where I lived, she knew all of my family's information, and I was super worried. The only problem here is that I had no evidence. Everything she said to me, she said over call. We didn't text. There was barely any like communication or threats that were in our like messages. So everything that she said was just over the phone. Sometime in January, I know that she had killed someone, because she told me that she had to go on a job and came back late at night, had to wash all the blood off of her body and whatever, and just, I knew about that one, and that was the most recent one, I believe, and the most, I don't think that there's been anyone else since then. Fast forward to my 18th birthday, she bought me a car, she bought me a ring, she was pretty much ready to go, and I had my flight booked by her. And I got to the airport, made it to the airport, and I was about to get on the flight when my mom found out everything and came to stop me. But before that, I had already put in my phone a statement saying my name, my age, my location, and her name, her age, her location, where she worked. And I clipped every single piece of evidence that I had, all of our sex tapes, everything into a big folder, and I left it where my mom could find it. So my mom came to the airport and called the police and told them that I needed to have a 1013 filed so that I could be involuntarily held in a psychiatric hospital for 3 days just to protect me. And then while I was in the psychiatric hospital, my mom contacted the FBI, and the FBI started an investigation and arrested her on a complaint made by my mom. And so she's currently sitting in federal prison awaiting her trial. She hasn't pled guilty or not guilty yet, because they're still investigating the murders on top of everything else that like opened Pandora's box because of her arrest. Her name was Carly Miranda Blum. She lived in Miami, Florida. She worked for the Miami-Dade Police Department, and her life is over and I am free.